G'day and welcome to another video. In today's lesson we're going to learn how to make this awesome cable scarf. This pattern can be used to make a blanket, and you will see some footage of the one that I'm working on at the moment, or you can use it to make a scarf. They look awesome either way. The yarn that I have used for this scarf is from Wooltopia, and I will put all the details in the description box below so you can get some of this beautiful rainbow yarn. The cables are easy to work up. You know me, I don't do anything the hard way, so you know that this project is going to be fun. It works up pretty quick if you're making the scarf. Of course you could do it all one colour if you wanted to. It would look fantastic either way. There is a free written pattern for this project, and the link that you need will be in the description box below. So go and check that out on my website. It is really easy to do this pattern, and you know, if you've never done cables before, I would recommend this pattern. It really only has the cabling bit, like the crossover part of the cable, only on one side. So when you're doing your return row, which is on your wrong side of your work, it's quite easy to do. Anyway, enough chat, let's get started on the lesson. This is a blanket that I'm working on, and I'm using 5 strands of yarn. I'm using 4 in the Pretty in Pink, which is the brightest pink that you can get, and this is Red Heart Super Saver. And I'm using 1 strand of the light raspberry, and it's really thick. That's a 10-ply yarn, so it's 5 strands of that, and it's really thick, and it's going to be lovely and warm. I love how the cables are standing out on this one. This is going to be great just for a throw on the couch. I did want to have this finished by the end of this video, but I just haven't got it done yet. But it's halfway there, as you can see, so it's a work in progress, and I'm loving how it's coming out. So it's very easy to make a chunky throw. I will grab the crochet hook because I can't remember what size I used. I know it was a big one, so I'll grab it and I'll show you what size it is. So this is just a cheap plastic hook that I got from a craft store. I've had it for years. I think I've had it for about 10 years. I don't know if you can see that. It's a 15mm crochet hook. So it's 15mm. Like I said, it's really big, it's really chunky, but it's great for when you're using multiple strands of yarn like this project. So if you can grab yourself a really big crochet hook, then this will be awesome. You can make, there we go, you can make some really chunky projects, and these work up super duper fast. Yeah, this, as you can see, one stitch there is literally an inch high, so it works up super fast. So the stitch count for this one is, you can see the cables, which are here. So however many cables you want, that's how many groups of 14 that you do. Pretty sure that's the stitch count. I filmed the other part of the video about 2 weeks ago, so I'm hoping that's the right stitch count. If it's not, I'll put it across the screen. So groups of 14, so however many cables that you want, that's how many groups that you do. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll do 5 groups of the stitch count, and then you add what you need to at the end of your chain. This will make a lot more sense when I tell you what the multiple is. I may even put it across the screen here so that you can see what I'm talking about, but I do explain it when I show you how to make the scarf version. The scarf version is just 2 lots of the multiple. You could do it with 1 if you want, but I chose 2 for my scarf. And as you can see on this one, because it's so chunky, I've only used 5 sets of the multiple, plus the extra that we had to add on the end. So if you're using a thinner weight yarn and you want to make a blanket, you are going to need a lot more multiples. But yeah, you just make it the chain as long as you want your project. It's easy as that. For our supplies, we're going to use some Red Heart shimmer. This is a 8-ply or a double knit yarn. It does say it's a category 4, but it is a lot thinner than the worsted weight or Red Heart Super Saver or Red Heart with Love. I'm just seeing if I've got a scrap of the worsted weight yarn. So these are both category 4s, but you can see there that the pink one is a lot thicker than the purple one. So this one recommends a 4mm crochet hook or a G, and this one recommends a 5.5 or an I size crochet hook. So you can see that they're completely different thicknesses, even though the category 4 is the same number. So if you're an Australian or you're in the UK or in New Zealand, an 8-ply yarn or a double knit yarn is going to work perfectly for this project, or anything that works with a 4mm crochet hook, and that's what I'm going to be using today. You can make this in any thickness of yarn, and just bear in mind if you're using a thicker yarn and a bigger crochet hook, it's going to come out a lot wider. So if you're using a worsted weight, I would recommend about a 5.5 or an I size crochet hook. So we can put our yarn aside. We're also going to need a yarn needle with a large eye, just makes it really easy to sew in your ends, and a pair of scissors. We can also follow along with the written pattern for this project, and you can find that located on my website. I would have put a link for you in the description box, and you can go and check it out. So I'm going to be making a sample, and this is going to be for a scarf, and you could of course use this pattern, to make a blanket, or you could, I'm just thinking, you could even make this a square and you could use it in a project that you're making, like a blanket. You can use it to make a square. But today we're going to make a scarf. So we're going to grab our yarn and we're going to make a slip knot, and you can do this however you like. Plenty of different ways to do that. And oops, I'm just noticed the yarn split there. Pop that on. What we're going to do is, for this pattern, it's a multiple of 14 stitches plus 6. And I know that's a funny number to do, a plus 6, but it's I've just got my sample here. It accommodates the stitches that we've got on the ends so that our pattern works out properly. So what we need to do is chain multiples of 14 plus 6, and what that means is you're going to do 14 chains, and you're going to look at your chain and say, is that wide enough for the project I want to make? And no, it isn't. So you need to add another 14 chains. Again, look at your project. Is that wide enough? I'm just having a look at this project, this sample, to see how many I did. Okay, so depending on how many cables that you want, so here's your cable, and then you've got the bit that divides in the middle. How many cables you want in your project, that's how many lots of chains that you're going to do. So I've done 2 lots of 14, so I'm going to get 2 cables in that. So as you can see, I've got 2 cables, one here, one here. So once you've got as many as you need, if you're doing a blanket, you're going to do a lot more than that. What we're going to do is add 6. So I've got 14 and 14, so what's that? That's 28 chains, and then we're going to add 6 on the end. And that just makes it so that our pattern works out and that it's even on both sides of our work. Both ends of our work, sorry. So what we need to do now is we're going to double crochet in the 4th chain from the crochet hook. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, I think. So looking at our chain, you don't count the one on our crochet hook, we've got 1, 2, 3 and 4. You're going to double crochet into that. So yarn over, go into the chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over, pull through 2 loops. I'm going to assume that you know how to do a double crochet. If you don't, there are plenty of videos on YouTube to learn how to do that. And what we're going to do, this row is really easy. We're going to double crochet all the way across. So in every chain, we're going to work a double crochet. So pause the video and I will meet with you when we are up to the end of our row and we're ready for row 2. So I've completed all my double crochets and we're up to our next round, so we can turn our work around. Sorry, our next row. We're working in rows on this project. There's no rounds because it's not joined. We're going to do a chain 2. And we're going to do a front post double crochet into the next 2 stitches. So we're going to work around this stitch and the next one, and a front post, we yarn over, put our crochet hook next to the stitch we want to work around. We go around the back with our crochet hook and out the other side, and we complete our double crochet as normal. So again, in the next stitch, from the right hand side, if you're left hand sided, you're going to insert from the left. You're going to go around the back and then work your double crochet. And we're going to double crochet in the next 4 stitches. So our next stitch here is there. So work a double crochet in the next 4. We're going to skip 2 stitches and we're going to do a front post treble around the next 2 stitches. So we're going to skip 2, so 1 and 2 around the next one. So we've done this one, skip 1, 2 around the next one. We're going to yarn over twice and we're going to do a front post treble, so it's from the right to the left around the back and pull through. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and you've got one more time, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over twice. Around the next stitch, we're going to go from the right to the left around the back, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And now, remember how we skipped 2 stitches just before? So we've got 2 skipped stitches here. We're going to work a front post treble, which is what we just did there, around the first skip stitch, which is this one here. So yarn over twice, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Not really, you will get used to it. It's just the first time it might feel a bit odd because you're working backwards. So around the first skip stitch, try and say that 7 times fast. So we're going to work our front post treble. So through 2, through 2, and through 2. And then we're going to work a front post treble, which is what we just did, into the next skip stitch. Now, this is the one you may forget about because it kind of hides and you can't really see it, but it's right in there. If you pull the work apart, you'll be able to tell that you haven't actually done it, but it does hide if you're not paying attention. So go back to the second skipped stitch and work your front post treble. Now what we're going to do is work one hang on, I've missed where I'm up to in the pattern. Sorry, we're going to double crochet into the next 4 stitches. Sorry about that. I was about to tell you to do the exact same thing again, but it was wrong. So 1, 2, 3, 4, work a double crochet as normal. So you'll see here that this one's been worked around because it's got our front post treble coming out of there. So in the next one, I'm going to work a double crochet. Just normal, no front posts or anything, just straight through the top there. Around the next 2 stitches, we're going to work a front post double crochet. So yarn over once from the right to the left around the back, double crochet, and again around the next stitch, and that finishes off our repeat pretty much. So we're going to start that again. So we've just done our 2 front posts because we've just done them there, and we're going to start here again. So it's 4 double crochet. What's this bit of fluff? Get out. So if you can't figure out where to go, just sort of pull that work and that'll pull it aside, and you'll see the top of the stitches here. So going into there, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So that's your front post there, and then you've got your 4 by himself. And now we're going to do the cable part, which is your front post treble. So skip 2 stitches, so 1, 2, around the next one. And I actually keep my hand like this when I'm crocheting off camera, and it just reminds me that this stitch here is where I'm going to work around. So yarn over twice from the right to the left around the back, and work your front post treble. So through 2, through 2, through 2. Again, wrap twice around the next stitch and work your front post treble. So now we have our skip stitches. We've got 2 skip stitches here. We're going to work a front post treble around the first skip stitch. So yarning over twice, get to the first skipped stitch and work your front post treble. This one here, which is our next, is our second skip stitch, so it's yarning over twice for a front post treble. Now what we want to do is work a double crochet in the next 4 stitches. And we're going to have 3 stitches left. You're going to have 1, 2, and then the turning chain from the previous row. We're going to do a front post double crochet around the next 2 stitches, so these 2 here. So yarning over, going from right to left around the back. And then the very last stitch, which is what we can miss out on, and if we do that, our scarf or whatever you're making is not going to stay straight on the sides, it's going to start to lean across. So you make sure you get that last stitch, and the last stitch is a double crochet, and you're going to work it into the top of the chain that's up there. And it's just a normal double crochet. So that's the setup row. And now we're going to do a return row. So notice how this time all of our stitches were front post stitches. I'm going to sneeze. Oh, excuse me. And then, so yeah, they were all front post stitches, weren't they? You had your front post double crochet and your front post treble crochet. So on our return row, all those front post stitches turn into back post stitches. So we're going to do a chain 2. It always starts with a chain 2. And because our cable is going to be on one side of the pattern, so you want, if you do a front post here, it's going to mess up your pattern. So you want to do a back post so that when you look at the good side, it's all going to look like a front post. So a back post is going around the back of your work, so you're inserting from the back, and we're going to the very first, we've done our chain 2, that counts as our first stitch, and we're going to the first post stitch there. So going around the back, again from the right to the left, around the stitch, and then working your double crochet as normal. Again, we're going to do a back post double crochet. This is really hard to show you to keep it all like that. You're going to go in that one and then out that one. So in this gap, around that stitch and out the other side, and then work your double crochet as normal. Into the next 4 stitches, we're going to work a normal double crochet. And don't forget, if I'm working too fast for you, you can rewind me as many times as you like, I won't mind. And you can also pause me so that you can catch up. And I promise I won't get cranky if you do that, because I do it to people when I watch them on YouTube too. So we're up to, this is the front post trebles that we did, but on this part we're going to work back post double crochet. We don't do a treble on the return row. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to do a back post double crochet, and it's going to go, this is going to be a bit tricky to show you. It's going to go around the very first front post treble. So first stitch will go around this one, the next one will go around that one. So let's just do that first. So we're going to do a back post double crochet, and I'm kind of feeling with my fingers here and my thumb, and I'm kind of just separating those stitches so I can find them. So around the first one, and again feeling around, there's another stitch here, so I'm going to work around that little sucker. And now it's these two which are here, which is going to be a back post double crochet. So around the back, this is the bit where you could miss a stitch, and trust me, I've done it and had to rip out rows on my practice piece. So it's all back post double crochet, and you'll have 4 of the back post double crochets, and they'll work around each of our front post trebles that we did on the previous row. That's probably the trickiest part of this pattern. So now we're going to do 4 double crochet, and they're just normal double crochet into the top of the stitch there. We've got 2 of our front post double crochets from the previous row, so we're going to work 2 back post double crochets. So around the back for our back post, and same on the next stitch, and then in the next 4 stitches we're going to work a double crochet. We're up to our front post trebles from the previous row, because when you look at it, it looks like there's these 2 stitches are at the front looking at you now, and then there's 2 stitches at the back, and that's the ones that you may skip. They're just on the front here. It's really hard to show you on camera sometimes. So what I do, like I said, I kind of like feel around, grabbing these 2 front ones I can see, and then I know that the other 2 there are the ones that I need to work around first. So we're going to go around that one first for a back post double crochet, and then the next one as well. And then the 2 that are easy to see here, that's easy to work, so you can, oops, doing back post, Claire, pay attention. Back post around that stitch, and then a back post around the next one. So what it's going to look like on the other side, you're going to have 4 front post stitches when you're looking at it from this side, even though we worked them as a back post. They look like they're front posts on the right side of the work. And it's going to be a little bit squished up and look a little bit funny at the moment, but it starts to straighten out as we go along. And we just need to give it a little bit of a straighten up as well. So our next 4 stitches are just double crochet. And our next 2 stitches are back post double crochet. And our last stitch is just a normal double crochet into the top of the chain. And then we're going to turn our work and we can have a look to see what it looks like. So it doesn't really look like a cable yet because it needs to go a little bit further along before it starts to look like one. And you can give it a little bit of an adjustment like that. And here we are so far. So the last 2 rows that we did are our repeat for this pattern. So that's pretty good. It looks really cool, but you've only got to remember 2 rows. And once you've done a few times, you will start to remember what to do and you won't even need a written pattern, trust me. And it kind of tells you what you need to do by looking further down the pattern what you've already crocheted. So you'll know when you come to here, you've got these 2 stitches that are popping right out. So they're front posts. If they're looking at you on the right side of your work. If you can't remember what the right side of your work is, get a stitch marker. And right now you're looking at the right side of your work. So you can just chuck in a stitch marker anywhere there. And the right side of your work, your tail will be on the right side with this project. If it's on any other project, the first row, the right side, your tail will be on the left. But this is actually opposite because our first row of our pattern was on the second row. Anyway, sorry if that confused you. But so we're going to do a chain 2. And looking below, we can see we need to do 2 front post double crochets. So we can do that now. Looking at our work again, you can see that we've got normal double crochets. So we need to work 4 of those. Just grabbing some yarn. I need a little person to, like a little fairy or somebody, to just sit there and unwind my yarn for me. That would be cool to have a little fairy. So looking at this, again, we can see our cable is here. It's all crossed over. So our cable, when we're looking at our right side, is our front post trebles. So we're going to skip 2 stitches. So we're skipping these 2 stitches, yarning over twice. Into the next stitch, we're going to work a front post treble. And around the next stitch, we're going to work a front post treble. So we've got 2 skip stitches here. We're going to go to the first skip stitch, which is this one here. We're going to yarn over twice and we're going to work a front post treble. Our next skip stitch, which is the one that kind of hides, it kind of looks like it's already been done, but it really hasn't. Yarn over twice and do a front post treble around that one. Again, reading your work, looking here, it's just a plain double crochet. So that's what we're going to do. And we need to do 4 of those. Whoops. Get on there. My yarn is right at the start of the ball and it's just not flowing freely, which is annoying. Okay, so again, reading your work, we need to do front post double crochet and we need to do 2 of those. One thing I will tell you is make sure that you're doing 4 stitches here, because on my practice piece I kept doing 3. Yeah. It was only my practice piece, so it didn't really matter, but if it wasn't my practice piece, you do need to do 4 stitches in there. Again, reading your work, you've got 4 double crochet. So you're probably already noticing a pattern now that you're on row, what are we on, 3 of the pattern? I think we're on row 4, but we've only got 3 pattern rows. So we've done our 4 stitches. Reading your work here, we've got a cable coming up, so we know that that's skip 2 and work 2 front post trebles. So skipping 2, 1, 2, front post treble around the next stitch. Front post treble around the next stitch. And the 2 skip stitches that we worked, we're going to do a front post treble. So you always go to the first one. Excuse me. And then we do another one into the next skip stitch. We need to do 4 double crochet. Oops. Make sure you're putting your crochet hook in the right spot. And then we have 3 stitches left, so we've got 2 front posts and a normal double crochet. So do that. Front post double crochet around the next 2. And then double crochet into the chain that's on the end here. So turn your work around. Actually, what I like to do, and I did do this when I did my practice piece, look back across your row, make sure you've done it right, because it just saves grief and crankiness when you realise you've done it wrong. So that looks pretty good to me. So now we're going to turn our work around, and I'm sorry if the lighting's a bit off today. It's absolutely chucking it down outside, grey and miserable, but we do need the rain, so I'm not complaining, but it's just not good for lighting. So now we're going to do our return row, and you'll notice there's no cables on the back here, but it still gives an interesting texture, doesn't it? So on our return row, we only work front post double crochets. There's no trebles, no front post trebles on the return row. So we're going to chain 2, and this is the last time I'm going to show you how to do this, because this will be the second row repeat. So looking at our work, we're going to read it again, but we need to do back post this time. There's no front posts at all. So yarning over, going around the back of our work and working 2 back post double crochet. You're going to work 1 double crochet into the next 4 stitches. I'm loving this colour. Pretty purple with sparkles. Who doesn't love sparkles? And then we're doing front posts. This is what I actually do when I crochet this part. I stick my finger in like that, and I put these 2 stitches at the front, so I know that the 2 stitches at the back are the stitches I need to work in. So I'm sort of like holding these ones to the front, and then working back post stitches around the other 2 on the other side. It's one of those things that's quite tricky to show you on camera what I'm doing. Kind of almost like this 3D thing going on. But it's a front post around all the stitches. Double crochet in the next 4. And then back post around these next 2. So 1 back post around each. Double crochet in the next 4. And you probably already know what to do. You probably don't need me to sit here and tell you. But I'm just going to continue across to the end of the row. Reading your work, you've got your cable, so you know it's 4 back post double crochet Oh, it's gone blurry. There we go. What have we got? We've got 1 double crochet in the next 4. And then you've got 2 back post. Ugh. Back post. So 2 back post. And then a normal double crochet into the end where that chain is. Which sometimes, as you can see, can be tricky to get, and other times it's not. So we're going to turn our work around, and we're going to repeat those last 2 rows for the remainder of our project until you get to the length that you want. You may want this to be a square, and you may want it to be a scarf. I am going to be using some absolutely gorgeous yarn. Oh, it's not in this room. I'm going to show you at the beginning of the video anyway, so you would have seen it. Some absolutely gorgeous yarn that I got from Wooltopia, and I cannot wait. This is my sample for the video, and I cannot wait to get cracking on that ball of yarn because it's a rainbow yarn. It changes colour as you go. So I'm very excited about that. So yeah, if you want to get some of that yarn, there will be a link in the description box for where you can grab that yarn. Wooltopia is on Instagram, Facebook, and there is a website. So I'll put all those links that you need below. So yeah, really excited. You're going to repeat you're going to repeat the last 2 rows for the remainder of the project. I'm pretty sure I've already told you that, just repeating it in case I forgot. And I will meet with you when we have our finished project. This is not going to get any bigger because in the next part of the video, you're going to see my pretty scarf. This was just for the video. And I'm going to go and start on my yummy yarn. I'm so excited. Alright, I will see you in just a moment. And by the magic of YouTube, I will have my scarf finished. Even though it's probably going to take me about 2 or 3 hours to make it. Alright, so sit tight and I'll see you in just a sec. Okay, I had to come back and show you. We have this gorgeous yarn. Here's all the details. So it's an 8-ply and it's pretty. So I had 2 of these. One was used for a giveaway we had just recently over... Where did we have that? We had it on Instagram. So very excited. But don't worry if you're not on Instagram, if that's something that you don't want to use. We have giveaways on Facebook. We have giveaways on Ravelry. We have giveaways on YouTube. So everybody gets a chance to be in a giveaway. So really cool. Here's all the details. As you can see, there's a website and a Facebook page. Facebook's really great, and so is Instagram, keeping up to date what's happening. So really excited. Can you tell I'm using my excited voice? So yeah, I'm going to go get started on this, and I will back in the next video clip, and I promise you will see what it looks like. When we finish our work, we want to finish on the wrong side. So you're going to be looking at the back of your work like so. And you've done your double crochets and you've done your back post double crochets. That's where we want to finish, because when we turn it over, we're going to have the crisscross of the cable and then a row where there's no crisscross. And if we go back to the start of our work, you'll see we have crisscross here, and then the row below is just normal. So that's what we want to do. So we can cut off our yarn. And we just want to, I normally leave about 3 to 4 inches so that I can sew my ends in. And then we're going to grab our yarn, let's pull that through. And then we're going to sew in our ends, and we're going to turn our work over. I always like to sew my ends in on the back of something, if I can. And there really is no rule on where to sew your ends in. It's just wherever you can hide them, really. I kind of just go under stitches. I've got to make my way to here because I can see that I can sew into there easy. It's because I can sew underneath some stitches there. And then when I work my way back, I skip the stitch, last stitch I just came out of. So it's here, that one, skip that one, and then go back through. Then we're going to snip that off. And then you're going to do the same with the beginning one. I won't show you again because it's basically the same thing. And that's our project finished. Love how this yarn's turning out, the way it just sort of fades into each colour. It's very, very cool. Here is my finished scarf. I love the way the colour changes in this yarn. It's so pretty. And as you can see, all I need to do is sew in my ends and I am finished. Please share your creations on our Facebook page. I would love to see what colours you have used, if you've stuck with one colour, or you've got a gradient yarn like this, or you've chosen multiple colours. I think it will look great any way that you choose. Also, tag me on Instagram if you are over on Instagram. If you're not over on Instagram, it's awesome fun. We have fun over on Instagram. Also too, I'm on Patreon, and if you can support me over there, that would be fantastic. I will put the link to Patreon in the description box below. We are having awesome giveaways and we have a lot of fun over there as well. Please share it, give it the thumbs up if you enjoyed the video tutorial, and until next time, happy crochet!